I'm John Carucci from the Dinosaur on the Inner Harbor Media podcast. And with me this morning, we have two guests, Joyce Reap and Laurel Flanagan from Operation Northern Comfort. Welcome to the program.
Thank you. Thank you, John.
Well, we're going to talk about Operation Northern Comfort, what it's all about and what it does for the community. Who would like to start, Laurel?
Absolutely. John, I haven't been with Operation Northern Comfort as long as Joyce has been with them. People maybe don't realize, but Operation Northern Comfort started as Operation Southern Comfort back in 2006 after Hurricane Katrina, which happened in the fall of 2005. Our original CEO, Norm Andrzejewski, went through his personal Rolodex and decided that he would invite people to join him down in New Orleans and help with the cleanup and rebuilding after the storm. He didn't want to just write a check. He wanted to do more than that. And his connection to the area was that he had gone to Tulane. So he got 12 people out of that list, and they made that first trip in 06. So my partner here, my partner in crime, Joyce Reap, who is the chair of our annual fundraiser that's coming up, the Syracuse Crawfish Festival, was one of the people that went down on some of those early trips as when we were Operation Southern Comfort. Around about 2012, we had folks that wanted to do things locally. It had been some time since Katrina had happened, and we were trying to raise funds and stuff like that, get support for our organization. And because Katrina was in the rearview mirror, people were less willing to support that financially.
Right.
So, and we also had people were we're 100% volunteer organization. So when people went on these trips to New Orleans and eventually other places, they were using their own vacation time, their own personal time to make these trips. So these are the kind of people that wanted to do some things, but they didn't have endless amounts of personal time that they could just forego to do it. So they wanted to do things on the weekends and the evenings here locally.
Right.
And there's a lot of need right here
Yes,
locally.
there is.
So that's kind of how Operation Northern Comfort was born. We started out doing like yard cleanups and helping people move things. People like the senior citizens, people with disabilities, veterans, people like that just didn't have the means to accomplish this stuff.
And during COVID, you built some school desks?
We did, and that was another inspiration, if you will, of Norm. He heard about kids that were gathered around the dining room table, groups of kids, trying to their families. So they're working in all different age levels, trying to get work done remotely and not really succeeding.
Right.
So he said, what if these kids had their each own individual workstations? We build things. We can do that.
Sure.
So he put it out to our project managers, who quickly came up with the design. We had a couple of prototypes that we looked at, and they settled on one that was both effective as a learning space, could easily be transported, and was cost effective. So we started building those, and to date we've built over 1,500. And building is just part of it.
Right.
The delivery, it takes volunteers to deliver, it takes volunteers to facilitate that communication between the families and ourselves. And then, it takes a lot of work just getting the word out into the community that this is something that we do.
I remember on one of the trips I went on towards the end, probably was 2012, that the people in the New Orleans area said, you guys should help out your folks in your community too. I mean, they said, we appreciate everything you've done here, but we've got this now, and that was part of that too.
It was. I mean, we did, and so many great ideas were born out of the people that went down to New Orleans. there were young kids working for, actually, they were college students at Lemoyne, and they were working in a church, and they realized that the kids that they were helping in the church, after school with their homework, because they were all education majors at
Right.
Lemoyne, um, it wasn't just a hurricane,
No.
deficit, it was a poverty deficit.
Yes.
So they in a van on the way home from New Orleans, this program was born. The
Yeah.
idea for it was born, and it's something that carries on at Lemoyne College now. It's like an
Mhm.
internship program that happens in the city of Syracuse. So, um, it's just incredible, the ideas that came out of it, and when you give people the latitude, and that's kind of my job
Right.
as
Right.
the CEO of Operation Northern Comfort, is to, inspire people and
Mhm.
and give them the free rein, and the tools that they need to make these ideas come alive and happen.
Now, if somebody would like to join the organization, Operation Northern Comfort, what should they do?
They should go on our website. It's the best way to get a hold of us if they go on our website, which is operationnc.org.
Very simple, very easy.
Mhm.
Now, Joyce, the Crawfish Festival, that is coming up on May 4th.
May 4th.
May the 4th be with you, right?
Yes,
That's
right.
going to be the theme. What I wanted to ask you is, how did that come to be, the Crawfish Festival? How did that start?
Well, once again, Norm Andrzejewski, who was our CEO at the time, um, I had said to him at one point when I was on a trip, I said, Norm, we really need to have a fundraiser to help support the volunteers who come down here and financially help support him. And he said, no, no, no. He says, um, we're going to have a fundraiser and we're going to build a house with that money. And I was like, oh my gosh, what's he talking about here?
Yeah, I remember that.
So
Yeah.
we had at that point, we had a Mardi Gras themed event. And it was wonderful. We had people from down from St. Bernard Parish who came up and participated. And so that was a great fundraiser we had. Well, in St. Bernard Parish, they have a crawfish festival. And because we partnered with St. Bernard Parish, we became sister cities. Our city gave them a key to our city, and they proclaimed us as their sister city. So Norm thought, well, we can have a crawfish festival in Syracuse to
Why not?
connect with the St. Bernard Parish. And I was overwhelmed. I thought, oh my gosh, going from having a fundraiser in a restaurant to having a crawfish festival here in Syracuse, and nobody knows anything about crawfish. Well, we did. We had our first crawfish festival in Hanover Square, and I was really surprised that we had people waiting in line for 2 hours for crawfish. And so, as a result of that success, we started building on it.
Mhm.
And it was because of our connection with St. Bernard Parish and the people there in their crawfish festival. So, it has become our one and only fundraiser that we have for ONC.
Mhm.
And it has grown from a very small festival to being one of the larger festivals in Syracuse. And we like the fact that we are the very first festival in Syracuse.
I was just going to say that. And now, crawfish, if people aren't familiar with it, maybe you can give them a little information on that.
Well, the crawfish that we boil here comes right up from Louisiana. It's flown up the day before the festival along with the shrimp. So we have um, the real deal. Okay.
Love it.
And it's boiled in spices along with potatoes and corn
Mm.
and all that good stuff. And we actually have people from St. Bernard Parish who come up and they assist us. So if anybody is wondering if is the real deal, it is. Okay. If people are not familiar with it and have never had it, we have we give people the opportunity to try it.
Okay.
We have people who are there in the boil area, and you just step up and you talk to them, and they will show you how to eat the crawfish, and you can sample the crawfish. So that is one of the things that we like to do, because not everybody in the area is familiar with
No,
crawfish.
of course not. It's something that's new to many people in central New York, and a lot of them love it. They come for it
Yep.
every year.
Yes. We have a gentleman that is the first in line every year,
Mhm.
right, Laurel?
Yeah, it's surprising to me. He told a story one year he missed. His wife was in the hospital and he couldn't be here, and he watched. He was able to watch from the
Right.
hospital window. He could see the happenings going on in Clinton Square, but he couldn't get down
Oh,
there. So, but just that one year, he's been here every year, every other year. He buys like 10 pounds
Yep.
of crawfish.
Yep. What was interesting too is because we're so close to Fort Drum up in Watertown, we had so many military people who are from the South who came to the Crawfish Festival and were so excited.
sure.
Crawfish,
They were missing it.
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. And it's so unique. People are so like, when I talk to people about it, they're like, crawfish in Syracuse, and I have such a passion for this festival. I drive my family crazy, but I have a true passion for this festival. I get a great joy out of it. I love the festival itself because I think we're unique.
Mhm.
We proclaim to be a family-friendly event.
Mhm.
Okay. We have a lot at our festival that people come and enjoy. We have a what we call our mascot dance contest, and we have mascots from the area, and they dance to a Cajun song,
Mhm.
and they compete, and we have judges, and the winner gets a trophy, plus they get $200 to their non-for-profit that they are dancing for.
That's fantastic. And along with the crawfish, you have other foods
Oh,
available that
yeah.
Central New York people may be a little more accustomed to.
Oh yeah, we have our clam shack. Okay, the clam shack has clams, salt potatoes, which
Mm,
everybody loves, uh, Hoffman hot dogs, and Gianelli sausage sandwiches. Okay,
fantastic.
that
Yeah.
is the local food fare.
Mhm.
And we have pulled pork sandwiches that people are very familiar with. And we also have local food trucks that participate and support us. So there's something there for everybody.
Are there any new items you want to mention?
Wow, we have developed, or was developed last year, a new sandwich. Um, it is a pulled pork sandwich with deep fried mac and cheese on top, and that will be available. And it is called the Reaper.
The Reaper. Ooh, sounds delicious.
It is delicious. It was developed last year, and the person who developed it is my son.
Mhm.
And that's why it's called
That's
the
how you
Reaper.
got the name. Yeah.
And he will be running the beer tent this year. So if you get a Reaper and you go over to the beer tent, you're going to want to do a thumbs up to the young man who's running the beer tent for developing that sandwich.
Absolutely. And live entertainment. Let's hear about that.
Okay. Well, we have our first band we have is the Unity Street Band.
Mhm.
They parade through the festival in the very beginning, and they play our wonderful New Orleans music.
Mhm.
We would love if people would join in a parade, because if you ever go down to New Orleans, parades are a big deal. And we would love to see people join in the parade around the festival grounds. Then we have Sabon. They are a Cajun band, and they have been with us since the very, very first festival we ever had. Not festival, but fundraiser. They came to our first Mardi Gras fundraiser, and they've been with us every single year.
Very nice.
We have the fabulous Ripcords.
Oh yeah, they're good. Really good.
And this year we also have Brass Inc. who've come back,
Mhm.
and we have the bar dogs.
Yeah.
The barn dogs too.
The
Wow.
barn dogs. So
Yeah.
What a lineup. This
It-
is
it-
going to be fabulous.
And we also have a second area where we have an acoustic stage. And in that area is where our food trucks are. And there's an acoustic stage area, and there's a second beer area. So it's kind of like its own little
Mhm.
environment at the festival. We also have about 50 crafters who come. So you're going to have a lot of things to do there.
And what about for the kids?
Oh, this year we have a wonderful family zone. We are going to have crafts in that area for the kids to participate in. We have 2 very fun inflatable games that are not only going to be for the kids, but we think that there's plenty of teens and adults who will love to go into that
Well, there's
area.
kids in all of us, right?
Right. We also have an area that is our literacy area, where there's going to be books in that area that
Mhm.
will be available for kids to take. So it's a place where everybody can go into and have a little bit of something to do there.
Are you still looking for any volunteers to help out with the Crawfish Festival?
Absolutely.
And what should they do if they want to be involved in this?
Once again, it's to go to our website, okay? And through the website, that information would be passed on to our volunteer coordinator. The volunteer coordinator will place them in an area that we have a need for.
Sure.
And the volunteer coordinator this year will be sending out emails to each and every person who volunteers, so they know exactly what is going on, where they will be going. And so we're trying to be a little bit more organized, so the volunteers make it easier on our volunteers. Basically, that's what we're trying to do.
Strength by numbers.
Yes.
I like
Yes.
that. Laurel, anything you'd like to add that we didn't cover?
Yeah, we just the unique thing about this festival is that it is a real cultural experience. So Joyce talked about the different bands that will be there, but we also have a couple different dance troupes that will be there. One of them is a young girls mentoring program, and these are girls that primarily are from the city. And this gives them an opportunity. It's their first opportunity of the year to showcase their talent.
Mhm.
That's the PGR Foundation, and
Okay.
that's one of our partner organizations.
Mhm.
And then the other dance group is going to be the Smoke Dancers, which is a Native American dance troupe. We're having them for the first time this year. And kind of the purpose in having these other things that are all New Orleans themed is to just embrace all of the different cultures that we have here in Central New York, and make sure that everybody knows that everybody is welcome at the Crawfish Festival.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It becomes family oriented, it becomes community oriented, and everybody blends together. That's very
Absolutely.
special.
Yeah, I mean, it's a unique thing about our festival. When you talk about some of the other festivals, sometimes the heritage festivals, sometimes people think you have to be that type of heritage festival,
Right,
of that
right.
heritage
Yeah,
to join.
This is different in that regard.
Absolutely. And then another big thing about the festival, you've heard Joyce and I talk a bunch of times about our founder and our former
Yes, I
CEO.
was going to ask you about that.
Yes. Norm Andrzejewski passed away last year, last fall. And then shortly after Norm passed, we lost our co-chair, Warren Machel. So it's a deeply sad time for us last fall. And we have a real strong desire to honor those men and the incredible work and inspiration. I mean, they talk about how it takes one person with a great idea, and both of those men, just their willingness to step up and be an example. So at 1:15, we will have a tribute to both of them on the main stage at the festival this year.
Okay, very nice. I remember when I first met Norm, he came to our church to talk about, at that time, Operation Southern Comfort. And my son was probably in his mid teens, and he was a typical teenager, maybe needed to be humbled. And my wife looked at me and she said, we should have him get involved in this. And I said, yeah, you're right. And then she looked at me and she goes, you're going with him. So from that point on, I've been a lifer.
Yeah, it's kind of the way it goes. Everybody, like across the board, who works with Operation Southern Comfort and now Operation Northern Comfort, even in the more recent years, they get more out of their volunteer work with Operation Northern Comfort than they think they're going to help somebody,
Right.
and they end up getting more back out of it.
That's exactly the first thing I felt. My son did too. That first year we went, at that time it was Gulfport, Mississippi. And we came back feeling like we received that good feeling,
Right.
And you're right about that. Okay, I want to thank you for coming out again. Once again, Laurel Flanagan and Joyce Reap, and Operation Northern Comfort. Of course, the Crawfish Festival coming up on Saturday, May 4th, 11 a.m. till 7 p.m. in Clinton Square. Gian Carucci for the Inner Harbor Podcast.